Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Talk Podcast. I know it's been a bit long, but still we are here. And this is Dominic here, and we have Tina here.
Hello.
Yeah. So Tina, has been a very long time, I guess.
Yeah,
Two couple of weeks. We short, and I think we missed an episode as well.
life happens.
Yes, life happens, and we do not have our microphones now, so I think we have to speak a bit louder, possibly. So
Oh, that's easy for me. I'm Eastern European.
for an Indian, yeah.
There we
fine,
go.
because there's too much of noise outside, so I have to be loud. So that's great. So in this episode, actually, we're going to talk about dark side of love and red and green flags, toxic relationships, and why we stay. I think this episode would, I personally feel this episode is something very important for people who are single and who have been single not because of choice, but because either they broke up or they couldn't find the right person or whatever's the issue, or they've always get into a pattern.
Of a toxic relationship.
Yes, they always do that. So I think this is good because they'll know what is red and green flags of this dating and stuff, what we can do based on experience of people from different culture and how it is.
Okay.
Your red flags might be green flags for me. My green flags, my red flags might be green flags for me. So it'll be different. So first, let me just ask you about red flags and toxic love. That's the first segment. So in this, a few questions for you.
Okay.
First is, what are the biggest red flags in a relationships according to you?
Okay, this is an interesting one. So I'm gonna start by saying my red flags used to be much less in the past, or I don't even like calling it red flags, just my standard in general for what I felt as being in a good relationship is used to be much lower than it is now. So in the past, because of the way I was brought up, the biggest thing for me was he's not going to hit me. That was like physical abuse was the
That's
one
a
thing.
green flag. Person doesn't hit you, it's a green flag for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how.
That's a bare minimum, but that's a green flag.
The bar was low, man. Like really low.
Okay.
And based on my longest relationship, and not just that, but other interactions I've had with people, and because it could be just from friends as well, that you get to update what you see as acceptable in a relationship. It doesn't need to be just a romantic one. It could be friendship as well. That's also a relationship. It got a lot more about not just obviously physical abuse, but also if that person says that they're going to do something, that they actually do it, or they're very accountable for what they say. They communicate how they feel. They communicate their needs. But that also happened, the more I was able to do that with myself, with my inner child, and I was accountable to my own actions to myself, the more my bar got raised to what I was expecting and what was acceptable for me in a relationship, for me to feel that my needs are met. When I start meeting my needs, it got much easier to not accept behavior like that in a relationship or friendship. So my advice is meet your own needs and figure out what your needs are, and then when you are actually in a relationship, you can communicate those and you can get those met as well.
So based on it, there's no big red flags or biggest red flags. It's about finding what requires for you and whether the person matches it or not.
Obviously there are red flags: cheating, emotional abuse, physical abuse, all of those things are obviously red flags. But people have things that are much more comfortable with and that they can be flexible on than other people. And I don't mean that some people are going to be okay with being beaten. But some people might not be triggered by certain traumas that their partner might have. So, a person might be okay with somebody that has, as we've spoken in the previous podcast, anxious attachment style or disorganized attachment style. Some people might be able to handle that because they have their own boundaries that are quite strong. So they might not be affected as much, and they might be much more patient with somebody that has a disorganized attachment style and that is doing a push and pull. Whereas other people that have the same attachment style and it's too much of a trigger for them because of their upbringing, they might not be okay with it. So you just got to figure out what is okay with you. What are you comfortable with? Are you okay with somebody that's inconsistent, and can you be patient with that because they are working on it? Or is that too much of a red flag for you? Is it too much for your own nervous system to feel comfortable in that relationship and to feel safe in that relationship in? And in that case, maybe find somebody that doesn't have that attachment style, because it's not anything personal to that other person, it's what's personally okay with you to be able to grow in a relationship.
So you think that's a reason of people ignoring red flags and staying in relationship because of attachment styles?
That's a really good question. I think people ignore the red flags because they want to be loved.
Okay.
They
They
want to
want,
be.
they feel that kind of love which feels good for them, even though that probably not the right thing.
Well, people ignore red flags because they have been starved for love. They have been starved for understanding. They have been starved for acceptance. And when you grow up with parents that have not given you that emotional, ground for you to firstly get attached to them, to then build your own confidence in your own boundaries, and they have systematically left you hungry for love and hungry for that stuff, and have also brought you up with emotional abuse and physical abuse, your brain starts to normalize that when we're children and our parents are emotionally not there for us. We don't think, oh, well, there's something wrong with my dad or my mom. We think there's something wrong with us. So we start accepting that behavior, and we still try to get love, but obviously even in the smallest things, even in the way that they look at us, or when they praise us with something that's conditional love, like, oh, you're such a good girl or you're such a good boy because you cleaned your room, which is conditional love. We start accepting that from our partners as well, so we think that we deserve conditional love. So when we get in a relationship, then we think, oh, it's okay that he's not being as kind when they get angry because they still love us. No, that's not fair. That's conditional love. If somebody is angry with you, that's not an excuse, for example, for them to call you names, or for them to shout at you, or for them to give you the silent treatment. But because we've grown up with that, we think that that's normal, and it's normal for us to do that to our partner as well. So when you start actually looking at your own traumas and looking at what you've gone through, and you realize that that's not okay, and you give yourself that love, it's much harder for you to accept that behavior from someone else. So my advice is, maybe look at how you were brought up, what was normalized for you, what abuse was normalized for you, and reparent that. Obviously this is a really, really short advice on something that takes years, and you can do that. Yeah, and you can do that in relationships, but my advice is just look at your own life first and what was okay for you, because as much as we would like to blame just the person that we were in a toxic relationship with and say, oh, they were horrible to us and this and that, and the next thing, you were in that relationship, you accepted that behavior. Why did you?
For what I think was like very similar to yours, what you said, but at also same time as I feel, when, for an example, if you're in a household of parents where it's very normal to use abusive words, or we used to listen to those words, and when you date someone and that person also uses, wouldn't feel like a red flag for you or something, like you hear someone calling you names or something, for you it's normal because you're used to it. But if you date someone else and who never uses, or their family or household never uses, and you use it, and then they bring it, that's not normal for me, then you kind of realize, oh, you know what, it's not the same just because in my household they use this. Because I remember an incident where when I got angry one time, I just slammed the door and went in. And then the person I was with, like, she was like, they don't do it at my home. You cannot slam the door.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah, do it. I was like, oh.
You've had a nice childhood.
I was like, oh, okay, so that is not how it's like. So then that's when you realize that, oh, this is not normal. It's not acceptable. Maybe you got used to it,
Yeah.
Also, now I said before, like cleaning our house, I always got used to my house not being like really greatly clean or something. So it's like for me, it's fine.
For
So-
some people, there's two ways the general two ways that you would react depending on your upbringing. You either accept it and you pass that forward, or you totally deny it. So
I remember denying.
well, I was raised in a household that my dad would swear at my mum, and he would call her names and all this and that and the next thing. So I've totally rejected it. So I couldn't stand when somebody would swear at me in a relationship. That was my most hating thing, apart from the physical abuse. It's just, you can't call me names. No, nothing gives you right to call me names, because I had to listen to my dad doing that to my mum. To me, that meant, oh my God, he doesn't love me. He doesn't respect me. He doesn't see me as X, Y, and Z. Therefore, when somebody did that to me, I was like, no, that's not. But some people would have the opposite reaction, where they would see that as, okay, so if he does that to me, then I get to do that to them. No, it's not okay.
Yeah, this reminds me of what I said about alcohol. Because I saw that my father was drinking a lot. I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I will not allow it. Even if a person, if I'm dating or something, should not drink a lot or like this. So, and smoke any type of these type of substance or whatever. It's something, it's like a very clear thing, because I don't want to be involved. Also, I don't want that person to be involved.
Why?
Because of what happened. And I saw, like, think my father and whatever my parents was there.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's not good thing to do.
Oh, I want to go deeper into that.
Because I feel like people can't, because it's a, what to say, it's a substance which is neurotics, right? Neurotics which messes with the brain.
Yes.
And obviously there are side effects of it.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate people. And also I have a feeling that a lot of people blame it, their actions based on drugs or alcohol. Oh, sorry, I was so drunk, so that's why I didn't do. I don't like when people give me excuses because they were drunk.
Okay.
That's a very big drunk or drugs or them, because I understand, obviously, you're not in your own mind when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Which also I don't appreciate. So I don't like when people are in their own mind. Even if you are, you need to have a tolerance level to do it.
I think that when it comes to alcohol, and when it comes to drugs, people are treating the underlying problem using the alcohol and the drugs. The problem is not that they have drank or they have used some type of drug or that they are addicted to a drug. It's what they're treating the underlying issue, whatever the trauma is there that they're trying to numb. I think your dad was numbing something with that.
I mean, my dad was numbing. I knew it. I knew my dad was numbing.
Yeah.
It was about my mom and dad, that marriage stuff.
Yeah.
I knew I was numbing it. 100% I knew it. But it's like, I just don't want someone to do that as well. Like if I'm dating someone, like seriously or something, like partner, I don't want them to do that.
Why?
Because I don't want to deal with that standards.
You don't want to deal
with their numbing of traumas or whatever it is.
What
Because they use alcohol to numb things. See, it's fine if they use alcohol for casual.
What do you do to numb your emotions?
I have no idea. I have to figure out what I do.
Well, there you go.
But alcohol is not a good way to numb.
No, but
nothing is good to numb your emotions.
Yeah.
But alcohol is probably the worst thing to do.
Do you think?
Yeah. Worse.
I think everybody has their own standard. What I'm hearing more is that you don't want to be with somebody that uses specifically alcohol because of the trauma that you've experienced.
No, not the
with
trauma.
Somebody doing
What my opinion about alcohol is different.
Yeah, I think it's trauma because you can't handle somebody that drinks and uses alcohol to numb their emotions.
Not numb their emotions. I'm fine if someone drinks.
Yeah.
But most probably, whatever experience after that also, I've seen people use that as an alcohol as a reason for them behaving wrong or them not conscious about what their actions are. It happened way long, even in recent times also. And
It usually happens with people that use substances.
Yeah, and alcohol. So I don't appreciate that.
That's a fair point. That's your own. There you go. That's your own red flag.
Yeah, so that's it. It's not even trauma. Obviously, it's there because I've seen it grow up. That's why I didn't drink till I was 23 because I was like very against it. I was probably judgmental also.
It must have been really hard.
Yeah, it was very hard. Now, let's go to the other side
Okay.
of relation. Green flags and relations. That is
Okay.
something we have to discuss because it's very much needed now. Because
Okay.
we are growing old, and I think right now I
There's
am
the
going.
guy that's
Okay.
30. Hey, happy
Yeah.
birthday to this one.
Thank you. I just turned 30.
Yes.
So now I
Old
need to
man.
look at green flags of someone who I want like a partner.
Okay.
So what would be your top green flags? Someone who's a great partner.
I think you should answer this one first. You're the older one. You have you have more of a need to find a. You need to find a partner sooner than me if you want a family.
No, that is always. Now I'm going to be very misogynistic, but because men when they, at the age of 30,
Try me, bitch.
men at the age of 30 they are at the prime. That's the
Ex-
prime.
I'm sorry. I don't want one. Can you imagine if you have a child by the time, like you're 40, you just have your first child. You're 60 when that child is 20. You're a grandpa.
No, but no.
In
60
my
is
opinion,
not good.
guys, in my opinion, I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people have children later in life, and I actually prefer that. I think that's better for, the emotional intelligence and stuff like that. But no.
Men are the prime. 30 is the prime.
You're
Women
not.
see,
You're not.
okay, based on standard, like proper normalize how they stereotype.
You see, we don't
Based
have
on stereotypes.
microphones,
I'm
and
saying
we
about-
didn't need it to shout. So you see it at the beginning of the video when we said that. There we go. This is it.
They are saying about stereotypes. They always say when women they get older,
Yeah.
they're what to say. There is a thing in China. It's like when women is older than 25, they are called leftovers. Yeah, actually they are called leftovers.
I can't even start that conversation. Let's talk about green flags because if we go into that,
So my green.
But no, I agree in the sense of for women, especially women that have conditions like PCOS and stuff like that. When they go to after 30, you have less eggs. It's much harder for you to get pregnant. I do agree with that bit. Don't get me wrong, but I think both for men and women, it's okay to have children later. But I just wanted to make a joke because you are 30, you are an old man.
Fine. I'm at my prime. The audience would say, if someone was seeing this video, please say I'm at my prime. See this.
He needs some validation.
Yeah, always. I love compliments. I think next time if I'm dating someone, the person needs to have, words of affirmation. They need to give me that.
So you have low self-esteem, fair enough.
Very low.
Yeah,
I need
makes
to read a
sense.
book called.
Go on.
So, green flags. Let's
Yes.
go to the green flag. Top green flags. Communication.
Okay.
Biggest green flag. Someone is able to communicate about how they feel, what they want to do. If they have an issue with what I'm doing, everything. Biggest green flag. Because if they're able to, because I am worried that a lot of people expect, including me also certain times, for the other person to read my mind or think, I'm reacting this way because you did this.
Okay.
But the person can't do it. Actually,
They're not
no
in
one,
your brain to figure it out.
Yeah, no one's going to do it unless you convey that this is an issue. That is the biggest thing. If someone is able to do it, that's one. Second one is conflict resolution. If there is a conflict and I'm able to sort out the conflict, the person is ready to sit down and talk or like give space in conflict.
I'd like
Amazing.
to talk about that one.
Amazing.
I think when it comes to conflict resolution, so the reason why I want to talk about this is because of what happened the other day. So are you comfortable with that person taking some time away to be angry, to regulate their emotions, and then come to you?
Yeah. I would prefer I prefer that rather than sorting it now. But I also would normally like to take time out before having a conversation.
Okay.
I prefer, but I wish the other person gives me that time. Because I know that if things are eaten, emotions are high, it's going to get even more worse. And later when you realize you would have probably fought with something really stupid.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense. So I also need that. Yeah.
So you need that time to actually
know what it is, why I reacted also, why the other person reacted, what is happening.
So
have a proper conversation.
What would you do if that person is very anxious and they need to sort out the problem right now? Like the way you did when you thought there was a problem. Because as much as you say you take some time away, you also dropped your whole self in that situation.
That's curiosity, not to solve it. It was a curiosity.
No, it wasn't curiosity.
It was a curiosity. I was like, what happened? That's it. It actually was curiosity. was genuinely a curiosity of why, what happened.
Okay.
Because if someone said this is the issue and it's a problem,
Mm.
I would, for sure, would have contacted them after some time.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
for sure. You have no idea. You should, if you see me more, you know.
So what was the feeling when you saw the message?
I was like, what the fuck happened?
That's
That's
not
it.
curiosity.
What the fuck happens to curiosity?
Mm.
You don't put your perspective of assumption thinking that mine.
That's not the conversation we had though. The conversation we had was based more about the fact that you felt unsafe. The fact that you needed to sort it out because it's
I
like
want to know
you
what
took
it is.
accountability for that person's emotions
I
straight
genuinely
away.
wanted to know what it is. That's it. If the person like, okay, we have to give them. So, guys, I received a text message from a person like, I hate you. Okay.
Mm.
And immediately I was like, what happened? So I wanted to talk to the person and sort of, at least to know what it is happening. Because it was very blank and I was confused what it is. It's a confusion. But Tina thinks here that I was scared that there is a gap and there was a miscommunication. Or like, more like, oh, I'm scared or I'm felt unsafe.
I
That's
still
why.
think so because your emotional states depended in that moment to their response. Your emotional state depended on their response. You needed to know.
Any comment, okay, listen to me. I'll actually look at them. If someone texts you out of nowhere, I hate you, would anyone feel different or like what's happening? Curious with no reason. It's normal for anyone to do it.
I'm not saying it's not normal. I'm not judging you for your reaction. It's a normal reaction. It's not.
It's a very normal reaction.
The reaction is. It's not about judging your reaction. It's about being curious as to why you reacted that way.
That's the reason. I was also curious why I received the message.
Mm-hmm.
If it was anything else, someone blamed me or sent a text, I would probably take my time to respond. Every single time. It's always the case.
But
if someone says a proper message of you did this, whatever issue, I will always take time to reply to them.
But in that case, the more curious thing is it came from somebody that
very
is
close to me.
Close to you, yeah. So we don't react to a message that is seen as somebody sends you a message of I hate you. If it's somebody that's not close to you, just go, okay, I'll just ask them later because whatever it is right now, I need to focus on what's going on for me because I have plans.
No, hate is a very strong word to send.
Yeah, so it's your
even
own
if
it's your own attachment to it.
It's not. That I for sure I can say. We had another discussion where guilty of choosing me. That's sure. That I agree with certain extent. Now,
okay.
What is your green flags?
Okay, my green flags. Communication, like you, definitely. I need somebody that can communicate. I hold that in very high esteem because I grew up in a family where communication was non-existent. My parents used to get in an argument, then they used to give each other the silent treatment for a few days, and then they would start talking again as if nothing happened and get in the same stupid argument a few days after. There was never a resolution, so conflict resolution, being able to come and talk to me and tell me what's going on, massively. However, I do have the tendency to take accountability for somebody else's emotion. So when I have to communicate with someone about how I feel, I struggle. I would let it build. I struggle to not let it build. Like I've done much better with time now, but I used to grow up I used to be in a family where you couldn't go and say what's going on because they would.
You worry about the backlash.
Either that or they would twist it and tell me that I'm the problem.
You are the problem. I knew it. Yeah, cool.
Get out of your own apartment. So I struggle because I believe that if I'm voicing my needs, this is the thing. I believe that if I voice my needs, that I'm going to get in trouble. I don't believe that my needs are worthy of being met. So as much as I believe that I want to get what I want and I deserve that, at the same time, I don't believe that. So it's a healing process for me to get to the point where, hey, actually, this thing that you did really hurt me. I grew up with a narcissist, or when you grow up with a narcissist and you want to say what you think, you have to replay every word and justify everything and think what word might set them off, and make sure that you don't say that. And even if you try and perfect everything that you're trying to say, that person will still find something to twist it and put it on you. It's a really exhausting process, because it's not your place to think for them and what might hurt them. You don't know everything. You can't know everything that might hurt them, and it's not your place to sit to think everything that might hurt them. When you're trying to express yourself, you're trying to express it, yes, in a way that's respectful, and it's not obviously, hey, this is your fault and you piece of shit. You're still trying to just communicate, but you can't know everything. And with a narcissist, they will blame you for not knowing everything, for not knowing how can you say that word, or how can you think that you can tell me that you're uncomfortable with something that I've done when I've given a roof over your head and you have a bed to sleep in. You're ungrateful fucking piece of shit.
Okay.
So I struggle to communicate because I'm afraid that I don't deserve that, and they're going to tell me that. So conflict resolution, communication, exploration of self. Like a massive green flag for me is that you are continuously healing yourself, and you're coming to me growing, yes. If you come to me and say in a relationship, if you come to me and say, hey, this is something I'm working on at the moment, like for example conflict resolution, but while I'm still working on it, I'm gonna need you to help me in those situations while I'm still growing. Great, perfect. What do you need me to do? Because you're growing and you're asking for support. And in my opinion, when you want to build trust, it's not by giving help, it's when you ask for it.
Help, yeah. It's a very big thing.
So when you ask me for help, I'm like, yes, I would love to. You let me see how I can help you. I can tell you where my boundaries are with what I can help you with, but this is what I can do for you. And it's like, I love that so much. That's such a green flag for me. Act of service as well.
Nice. So these are the green flags. So if you guys have found someone with these green flags, I would probably ask you guys to pursue it. And if that's
something you want.
Yeah. But if it goes bad, don't blame us. I mean, this is my perspective.
We take no accountability.
Yes. We'll put a disclaimer again. Like we are not like love gurus or experts.
No.
Probably we are the last person to ask expert opinions.
I'm in therapy. This guy is 30 and single. Sorry.
Let's go. Next episode is how to be happy being single. That's it. So I'm gonna do that. Then
I don't know this one.
I'll tell you how to be happy being single.
Thank you.
Okay. So the last we're gonna end close of the episode.
Yeah.
So first thing is, how can you leave the toxic relationship? And obviously it's going to be like a trauma bond to leave, very hard to leave it, because you're used to it, your body's used to it. And even though you know that it's not great, but you somehow want to be in the relationship.
Right.
So how to break free from it. And also once you leave from a toxic relationship, sometimes you'll feel bad about yourself, that, oh my God, shame about yourself for being in one. So how to rebuild your self-worth and everything. What's your
I've been in that. My biggest advice is talk to your friends. Like, talk to your friends about what you're going through. And in a lot of toxic relationships, it's like your partner or you both have just kind of like kept it to yourself. You've kept to yourself the argument, you've kept to yourself the abuse. Whatever the abuse is, emotional, physical, talk to your friends about it. Because your friends will tell you, get out of this, don't stay in this, because this is not okay, this is not acceptable.
I mean, the right friend and good friends would say it. Some friends would be scared, like, okay, I'm just worried it would affect my friendship. Some people wouldn't actually say that.
I mean, to be honest, talk to your friends, talk to your therapist, talk to your family. If your family is somebody that you trust, because not every person has the privilege to.
I don't think so. We both have, so
yeah, we both don't.
Yeah.
My family is the reason why I wasn't talking. Okay, not saying that, but saying that. It's really, my personal experience is it's really hard, because you see this person as, you know, somebody that you want to spend your life with, but it's also it's unrealistic. Like, you see it but you don't see it when you're in a toxic relationship. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to spend my life with this person, but also your brain is shorted. It's like this connection between wanting to have a life with this person and seeing the type of stuff that they're doing. It doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit because of the way that they abuse you. When you have to answer your questions to yourself of, can I stay with somebody that does that my whole life? Do I want my father? Do I want the father of my children or the mother of my children to have those those characteristics? Would I allow my child to be treated the way that that person is treating me? Maybe those are the biggest things that you should answer for yourself. Like, if I have a child, would I allow my child to be treated this way by anybody? No, then why are you allowing them to treat you like that? I know it's really, really hard, and it took me a long time in numerous and therapy, in not just one relationship, to get out of something like that, and to get out of, you know, a relationship with my father, which was, oh my god, so toxic. But at the end of it, you have to consider yourself first. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's the first thing you have to do. Do I want to stay in this? Is this something that's...
Don't be guilty for choosing yourself. Don't be guilty for choosing yourself.
Or be guilty but still do it. Like, feel guilty until you are ready to stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself, but choose yourself, because it's the first thing you need to do to start growing and choosing somebody better. In order to choose somebody that's healthy for you, you have to choose yourself. You have to choose to be a healthier version of yourself to find somebody that's healthier.
Makes sense. I don't know how to say about that, because I don't think so. I've been in a proper toxic relationship yet. And I wish I'm not.
Yet? The hope is still there.
Maybe I'll never know. But I don't think I'll be making at the age of 30 a mistake. So, you'll never. Maybe I will.
Maybe you will.
Yeah. At this rate, there are more chances I will. So, but I should not. That's the, yeah.
Let's hope.
But in terms of self-worth, I'll probably say that do things which makes you feel good. Follow your career, follow your passion. Do make friends, meet people. Like, just have like a journal or something, have a checklist of like bucket list. Start doing those things. I think that will probably make you feel good also.
Yeah.
And in terms of, you know what, I've done these things, like, so that when you look back, you feel like, oh, my life's been really good. So do things which gives you good memories. That's one way to build self-worth. Work on yourself. Go to gym, train. Probably helps.
Do yoga, meditation.
Meditation, yeah. Anything which mindfulness is a very good thing. So yoga, meditation, these. Gym is for people who are, I don't know, mostly for guys, not really to gym a lot. Yeah, not mostly. Again, not being misogynist. Not misogynist. I said mostly because we just like to. Most of them like to.
You guys
because
have
of the standard.
You have more testosterone to burn.
Yeah.
So, well, not burn, but you know, you need to get it out, and physically for you, it's better to go to the gym.
Exert energy in terms of strength wise and everything.
Yeah.
So that's it. That is my, suggestions to build your self-worth and build your, I would say, standard, probably, I would probably say. I think the more you make yourself feel like you are highly valued and have bigger standards, the better you attract partners.
Well, the thing is when you meet your own needs, and when you meet your own, when you are actually accountable to yourself, so you say, I'm going to do this for me, and it's something that you take small steps in your career, in your personal life, what you want to, the way that you talk to yourself, when you consistently meet your needs in small steps, then your standards build. And you find people that you start dating and you're like, okay, you're actually not meeting my needs to the level that I'm meeting my needs, and I need somebody that can do at least the same thing. So if you're not able to provide the same value that I'm bringing in my life, and you can't meet me at the same level, then next. And the more you meet your own needs, then the partner that you choose, it's going to be on that same level. That's why I'm saying, when you're in a toxic relationship and you get out of it, it's why did you accept that behavior? Where weren't you meeting your needs that you accepted somebody that was harmful to you? How were you harmful to yourself? That's what my advice is. Explore that and build a better relationship with you before you find someone else.
Yeah. So this is the advice for dark side. I mean, not advice, like what we feel like dark side of love is. Next episode, we want to talk about the how to be single, and we have more focus on the self-worth.
Yeah.
So this is the end of this episode, and in next episode we'll give you a detailed explanation and experience about how to build your self-worth, how to be happy, be single, which is very hard to be honest. Because of the social media things where you see reels of couples enjoying, oh, I'm in this romantic love, blah blah blah. So there's always a FOMO of always the FOMO there is.
Yeah.
So I think, but again, being single and being in love with yourself is very important. So that's it for today's episode. And if you guys feel what are the biggest red flags, like just put a comment below, and also tag your friends who wants to know about red flags and red flags, because I know there are some people who still don't know any of these and they are very toxic.
Well, not just that, they're just unaware. And if this helps anyone, that'd be great. If it doesn't, let us know why, so we can argue with you.
Yeah. So thank you for watching, and we'll both see you in the next episode. Bye bye.